You know that feeling, right? You ask an AI assistant a question and the answer you get back is just off. Well, that whole experience is starting to change big time. Today, we're going to talk about a massive leap forward where AI goes from being a simple file clerk to a genuine expert that can actually think, plan, and research all on its own. So let's dive in.
First things first, let's tackle the problem that we have all run into. You ask a chatbot a question, maybe one that can even browse the internet, and it still completely misses the mark. It makes things up, it misunderstands you, or it just spits out a totally useless answer. So what's really going on under the hood?
Well, the first big attempt to fix this is a technique called Retrieval Augmented Generation, or RAG for short. The easiest way to think about RAG is that we're basically giving the AI's brain, that's the large language model, a library card. It connects the AI to outside information, to live data, so it's not just stuck with whatever it was trained on months or years ago.
And the whole point here is pretty simple. As Ars Technica puts it, RAG is really just a way to help LLMs stick to the facts. It's a system designed to ground the AI in reality, to keep it from just making stuff up. But as you're about to see, that's a lot easier said than done.
See, standard RAG has some serious limits. It's kind of like having a very junior assistant. I mean, they're helpful for sure, but they only do exactly what you tell them to do. There's no initiative, no thinking outside the box. Let's take a look at what that actually means in practice.
So here's the old school RAG process, and you can see right away how rigid it is. You ask a question, the system does one single search, it then crams whatever it finds into the prompt, and just hopes for the best when the AI generates an answer. It's a straight line, with zero room to adapt if something goes wrong.
And this is exactly where it all falls apart. As AI educator Cole Medden points out, the system often messes up in one of two ways. Either it grabs the wrong information in that one search, or even worse, the AI just completely ignores the context you gave it anyway. This simple one-shot attempt just isn't cutting it for anything complex.
Okay, so how do we fix it? Well, we give our novice assistant a promotion, a big one. We make it agentic. This means we're moving away from a simple tool that just follows a script to a true expert that can actually think for itself and solve problems.
This is the key difference right here. On the left, you've got traditional RAG just following one instruction. But on the right, you have agentic RAG, which makes decisions. It has the autonomy to plan out a multi-step attack to find the best answer. This isn't just a small upgrade. It's a whole new ballgame.
So when we say an agent, what are we talking about? Well, in this world, an agent is an AI that can operate on its own. It can observe what's going on, like your conversation, it can make its own decisions, it can use tools to take action, and it can even learn from what happens next.
So what new superpowers does our promoted agent get? Well, there are a few core abilities. It can plan by breaking a huge, messy question down into smaller, manageable steps. It has tool use, which lets it talk to different databases or software. And this one is crucial. It can reflect on the information it finds and decide if it needs to dig deeper. It can even work with other AIs. These skills combine to make a real problem-solving engine.
Okay, enough with the theory. What does this actually look like when the rubber meets the road? Let's put our new expert assistant to work on a question that would totally stump the old system.
So imagine a student asks something super broad, like, how do I do well in Module 1? A simple keyword search on that would be a total disaster, right? The query is just way too vague to be useful.
And here is the magic. Instead of just blindly searching, the agent actually thinks. It has this internal monologue where it says to itself, okay, this is too broad. I need to come up with some better, more specific search queries to figure this out. So it kicks off its own little research project. First, it tries a couple of general searches. Then, and this is the key part, it reflects on the results and notices that the words Docker and Terraform keep popping up. So, based on that new clue, it launches a second, much more focused search. It's learning and changing its strategy on the fly.
But hold on, it gets even smarter than that. An agent can do something called intelligent routing. This means it doesn't just search one giant database, it can actually decide which specific database is the right one for the job. It acts like a skilled librarian, pointing you to the right section of the library.
And we can actually see that decision-making here. If you ask about latest Udemy courses on Gen AI, the agent looks at the keywords. It calculates there's an 80% chance the answer is in the special Udemy database, so it sends the query there first. It's making a smart strategic bet to get you the right answer faster.
So, you might be wondering, how does a language model, which is just good with words, actually do something, like use a search engine?
Well, the mechanism behind all this is called function calling, or sometimes tool use. Here's a peek under the hood. You can think of these functions as a digital toolkit that we give to the AI. We can create a search tool that pings a database or even an add entry tool that lets the agent write new information. The AI's job is to look at your request and figure out which tool in its belt is the right one for the job.
All right, let's pull this all together. Why is this move from basic RAG to agentic RAG such a big deal? Because, honestly, the future of AI is all about autonomy. At the end of the day, it's all about the quality of the answer. Remember our student asking about Module 1? The old RAG system might just dump a generic enrollment PDF on them. But the agentic system synthesizes everything it learned from all its searches to give a detailed, actionable strategy that specifically calls out Docker and Terraform. The difference in how useful that is, it's night and day. So if we think about this whole evolution, if that first breakthrough, traditional RAG, was what gave AI a library full of books, then agentic RAG is the step that finally gives it a researcher's mind. It's not just about having access to information anymore, it's about having the intelligence to seek it out, to question it, and to piece it all together to solve real-world problems. This doesn't just change the answers we get, it completely changes the kinds of questions we can even think to ask. So the only question left is, what are you going to solve?